The raw fish and rice delicacy, known as sushi, has rarely been more popular. But the traditional Japanese restaurants that helped put sushi on the map are starting to disappear. We get the cold facts from Lucy Craft in Tokyo.
When we stopped by last January, Chigusa Sushi was still hanging out its cotton shingle as it had for 85 years, beckoning the famished to a tiny counter to feast on delectable morsels gathered at dawn from the seafood market. We take pride in our tuna, Chef Haruo Gakuhari told us. We never serve frozen fish, only fresh. Chigusa was where locals savored a sense of community as much as the handcrafted jewels of salmon roe and raw tuna.
How has the sushi business changed over the years?
In the old days, there were 30 sushi shops in this part of Tokyo, he said. Now, we're the last one. But this summer, as the pandemic raged, Chigusa's elderly staff finally called it quits, among dozens of local sushi eateries closing for good in 2020. Eating Chigusa's lunch are brutally efficient mega chains like Kurazushi. Here, customers seat themselves, using screens that operate by simply pointing without actual contact. Next, patrons scan a digital code with their own smartphones to download menus and order food, which is whisked to their table. Paying via self-checkout, customers consume entire meals without ever coming into contact with restaurant staff. Kurazushi has dumped the sedate etiquette of the old sushi counter for a raucous carnival with a shooting gallery, prizes, and an endless series of games. Lest diners get bored, novelties like cheesecake and onion rings are constantly added to the menu. If this seems like the McDonald's of sushi, it's no accident. Kurazushi, which is launched in the U.S., aims to double in size to 1,000 locations by 2030. Sales are higher than before the pandemic. We aim to be on a par with global fast food chains, says spokesman Hiroyuki Okamoto. Even before coronavirus, soaring fish prices, a manpower shortage, and competition from the big chains had wiped out more than half of traditional sushi restaurants, according to a government survey. And with most owners at or near retirement, the pandemic is accelerating the demise of neighborhood sushi. Unrepentant, the big sushi chains argue they are the true heirs to Japan's sushi tradition. Back in the 19th century, sushi was sold from outdoor stalls, a cheap and filling snack for the masses. The chain spokesman said, "We want to be accessible to everyone, so we charge just $1 a plate." Handcrafted sushi is becoming a luxury. Offering dramatic decor and wine pairings, Sushi M places its chefs center stage.
Some sushi chefs, they practice in the mirror to see what they look like from the customer's perspective.
Food writer Melinda Joe calls this performative cuisine.
It's not like the customer is always right, as we think in the US. You are meant to enjoy the piece of sushi exactly as the sushi chef has intended it to be served.
Artisanal sushi, needless to say, is priced accordingly. $200 for the tasting menu at Sushi M. I talked to another food critic. He was saying we're going to see dirt cheap theme park style discount volume places, and then we'll see the kind of place that we're in right now, which is catering to the quote unquote 1%.
That's the trend. It's certainly something that we're seeing already happening.
For most Japanese, sushi is becoming a commodity, not fashioned by craftsmen, but cranked out by a robot.
If everyone is only eating at these kind of cheap sushi places, no one really starts to learn about the beauty of the art form of sushi.